All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to You
I
Have to
am.
Watch This podcast. I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devon.
And just in time for the show, Ryan's video's back up. Hey.
Nice.
Um, so today we're taking a look at this is something weird that we haven't done on the show before. We've talked about the sequel to this movie, but not this movie. Um, Back before Devon joined the show, Ryan and I did an episode on Aliens, the sequel to Alien, which is directed by James Cameron. Today we're talking about the original uh, Alien, directed by Ridley Scott, which Devon had never seen. And I'm going to let Ryan take over here in a second, but Devon, have you seen any other Alien films?
Does Prometheus count?
I would say yes.
Yes.
So I've seen Prometheus and I've seen the original Alien versus Predator, and that's it.
That doesn't count. So yeah, I'm gonna let Ryan get into this because it's his episode, and Ryan, take it away.
Okay. So, Alien came out in 1979. It was directed by Ridley Scott, as Alan already said, and it stars
Sigourney.
Sigourney Weaver, Tom Shark. I hate names. John Hurt. Moving on, and a bunch of other people. And this is probably what got me into sci-fi horror as a kid.
Oh, wow.
And I only saw it maybe on like network television here or there. But eventually, when I got into high school and I started like getting the DVDs to all of the like Alien movies, this one became like a very big cornerstone in my movie collection. Even though I do like Aliens more, I really like this one simply because it's like in my mind it's like right behind it. In
Interesting.
the level that I enjoy it. So you guys kind of have my background on it. Alan, you've seen this before, right?
Yes, I know the first time I saw this was in college, and I want to say it was right before Prometheus came out because I knew Prometheus was a prequel to this movie, but didn't really have anything to do with the other ones, so I didn't really watch those, but I wanted to watch this one before I saw Prometheus. Because I was and am still a big Damon Lindelof fan, so I wanted to see what he did with the script. Um, and he did stuff with the script. He really went out there with Prometheus, but I enjoyed it, but Prometheus, that is. This one, it's so ingrained in pop culture, I think, that I knew a lot of it beforehand, and since then I've seen so many references to it, and we'll get into some of those later. Um, but I guess this time watching it, the biggest takeaway for me was it's the guy from Fortnite.
Oh, no. Oh,
Now
no.
that I will death glare for that one. Like
I
seriously?
Hey, um, the only reason I own that skin is because I have the marching band one where your legs kick up. So every time I'm as Alien, I just do that and go, "Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling." Devin can do a test
Which is
to it.
sort of-
It's funny as hell.
It is.
Xenomorph.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Devin, I mean, I know this is your first time seeing it. Do you like Ridley Scott? Have you seen his other stuff?
What else has Ridley Scott done? I didn't come prepared for this question.
Blade Runner.
Oh, then yes, I like Ridley Scott quite a bit.
Blade Runner's the big
Especially if
one.
Blade Runner's the big one.
The Martian, Thelma and Louise, Gladiator.
Oh, geez. Yeah, he's up there for me now. I didn't realize that was all the same guy. Yeah, Ridley Scott's awesome.
Okay. So what? So being that you've seen Prometheus, and I do consider Alien versus Predator legit, so just putting that out there.
Okay.
What did you think?
Yeah, so this movie right now ranks up with me along with like Silence of the Lambs, where like I had like seriously been doing myself a massive disservice for not seeing this movie. And it's also a little bit like Silence of the Lambs, such that like coming into it, I was like, all right, I know what I'm going to see here. I'm going to watch a little thing pop out of a guy's chest, and then that little thing is going to turn to a big thing, and that's going to eat everybody, and the end. And I was wrong. Obviously, I was wrong. I mean, those plot points happened, but that's not all the movie was, so I was very wrong in that. And this, if I were to make movies, this would be the movie I'd make, or movies like this. Like, this is phenomenal. Yeah. Every scene of this movie was fantastic. And I'm going to lightly poke fun at parts of it, because I do that to things I love.
Believe me, this movie really lends itself to just poking with a stick at certain points.
Okay, so, good.
By all means, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Yes?
I was gonna make a joke, but then I realized it made no sense, so I'm just not gonna go there. So.
Okay. So one of the things that really struck me about this movie when I was younger, compared to Aliens, is that the feeling of I am not a claustrophobic person. I am not. And in fact, the tighter the space, the more comfortable I am. Like, I will fall asleep in a one-person backpacking tent perfectly fine because it's so enclosed. And that's how this movie feels. Like, it's really isolated. It's really claustrophobic. And it lends itself perfectly to the whole, like, cat and mouse game that eventually happens at the end of the movie. And I didn't realize at that point that that's the kind of movie that I liked until I saw this. And where that differs from Aliens is the fact, in Aliens, they're on the planet, or they're back on that planet again, and they're outside some of the time, but the structures they're in are a lot bigger. So it's not as, like, enclosed. What did you guys think about that where the movie was set and how it felt and that?
So I really like, this is probably one of my favorite horror movies, because that's what it is. It's a horror movie in space. I mean, the caption for it is, "In space, no one can hear you scream." It's terrifying. It uses the space very well to make you feel claustrophobic and trapped with this creature. And Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, but so this one's a horror film. Aliens is more of an action-adventure film, right? It's more like an action-adventure war type film.
Yeah, I mean, what it is, it would be like if, like, you were to make Hellraiser, the way it was, and then like you would make and then you'd make like Hellraiser 2, but instead of like setting it like Hellraiser 1, Hellraiser is now leading an army of demons, and you do like a Band of Brothers type movie to like get them. So I mean, you're using a horror monster in more of like an 80s action film.
Okay.
So yeah.
I don't know why that didn't sell me on the sequel to this. Like, the horror is what.
Oh, believe me, when you see it, it will.
Okay.
Don't.
I have two names to sell you on it. Do you want them now, or do you want me to save them?
Oh, I'll take them. I'm ready.
Bill Paxton.
Who is?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh no. That's it. I'm done. See you guys later. See you guys later.
Wait, look it up. Hold on. Bill Paxton.
I can't even think of something else to name if he doesn't know Aliens. He was in True Lies.
Oh, he's in Twister?
Twister. There you go.
He's the main guy in Twister. He was the first kid to die by... he was one of the first people to die in Terminator. He was one of the two punks up at the Overlook that gets, like, their heads ripped off.
He was in Spy Kids 3D as Dinky Winks.
Yes. And then, second name, Paul Reiser.
Paul Reiser.
From Mad About You.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Neither one of these names hit.
No, neither one of these hit. I don't know why. Usually I'm better with this.
Oh, man.
My two dads.
Directed by James Cameron. How's that? Does that hit?
That helps. Oh, Jeffrey from Beverly Hills Cop. I know Paul Reiser. That was a bad reference, by the way.
And not just that it was directed by Cameron, it was the fact that Cameron worked with Scott to make the second one.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I like that. I also have a lot of respect for Cameron in general. I know that's a super
Yeah.
hot take and no one will agree with me.
Yeah,
Huh?
it's before he made everyone blue in his films.
Ooh.
And I'm counting
All
Jack from
8 of
Titanic.
them.
But in ching!
Oh, God.
Okay, so
Third.
ignoring that, Devon, what did you think about the claustrophobic experience?
Oh, I loved it. There was this scene where the ship was literally like panning away from the camera just after the little alien ran away, and I just went, "It could be anywhere." And I was alone in my living room and said that.
What
Like,
did you say?
and-
All I
and
saw
that's
was
Wait,
true.
what
the
did you say? Your mic cut out just as you said that.
Ah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I said, I literally said out loud, "It could be anywhere," and like
Yeah.
it did it so well where it was like, okay, you're trapped in here with it, and like they kept using the cat and mouse. Like I mean, the cat and mouse was a thing, but obviously I love that they like drove the metaphor home by literally having a cat. Like I thought that was fun.
Yeah, he is. Well, she is. I forget. Oh, Jonesy.
Jones,
I believe the
Jonesy.
cat's name is Jonesy.
which is
Yeah.
also the name of the
Jonesy
character in
is like-
Fortnite who pulled Ripley and Jonesy into the game. So maybe that's where they got the name Jonesy.
Oh, maybe.
Anyway, so Devon, the
Ryan is not impressed.
I'm not. So Devon, when it comes to Aliens 2, instead of having the feeling
Yes.
of like the claustrophobicness, you kind of get that to a point because the movie opens with it. It opens with the claustrophobic feeling, and then it moves into being like, oh, okay, it looks like everything's gonna be fine, and then what happens? They go back with a
Like, they
bunch
go
of
back to-
Marines. They go back to the
Okay.
planet again that they landed on with a bunch of Marines. And there's one giant structure and one mini structure, and they go in between and they go in between the two, but they're being chased by like thousands of them, and not just one.
Oh wow.
So hopefully that sells you on the second one.
I mean, I want to see it. Trust me, I do.
Yeah.
I have yet to see 3 and
Okay.
4.
Oh, believe me,
So-
those are going to be happening through me, so don't worry about that.
Okay.
Good. I can't wait.
Okay, so this movie is also the one where, like, okay, so there are movies that I've seen actors in it, but I've never been like, oh, I recognize that actor. And it's not until I see them do a certain role that I'm like, oh, now I know that person, and then I see them and everything. So,
Yeah.
and that happened to me with, oh my God, what's his name? I feel horrible for this. Clue.
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry. Like, I saw him
Yes.
in a bunch of films when, growing up, but I never, like, recognized him between the movies. And then I saw the movie Congo, and he's in Congo. And then my dad pointed out, oh, that's that's the guy from Rocky Horror Picture Show. And then, like, 15 dominoes fell in my brain. I'm like, oh, I love this guy because all the movies I've ever seen him in, that was Weaver for me in this. Like, it's like I'd seen her in other stuff, but I had never been able to pinpoint where she was. And then I saw this movie, and I was like, oh, okay, now she became one of my favorite, and then she became one of my favorite actors. Now, her character in this, coming out in a movie that came out in 1979, she's the hero in this.
Yeah.
And usually films like this is a very male dominant like character.
Yeah.
That would, that would have usually gotten this role. How did you guys feel about her being the focal point of this and how she handled everything?
Devin, you go first.
I thought it was fascinating. I thought her role was really cool, where she wasn't like I don't know, I feel like this movie could have like really stumbled a little bit if it followed like the grizzled captain who's seen it all, and this is one mission too much, or something like that. And it wasn't, and I think she was the best character to follow, especially because she was the one that had to make the call whether or not people should be let on the ship. She was the one that basically gets the "I told you so" moment the whole freaking movie, and like, I don't know, and she was a great character. Yeah, I loved it. I loved her in this.
Yeah, she's one of the classic horror action heroes because it kind of falls into the whole last girl category of things. Like, she's the last girl to survive, which you
Yeah.
also get in Scream. in Scary Movie. I don't know why those are the two examples I go to, but it's kind of like the one of the best examples of that, because she is the one saying, like, she's the only one using her head. Like, no, we shouldn't let him on the ship because we have these protocols in place. But yeah, I really like her performance in this. I think she's a great actress and brings that gravitas to everything that she does. Like, she's very powerful, and I really enjoy her in this.
Yeah, I mean, she's my favorite part of Avatar, so.
I forgot she was in Avatar.
Oh, yeah. She is good in that.
Okay, so when it comes to the other characters in this, the other crewmates, who did you guys like? Who did you guys hate? Who did you cheer a little bit when they got eaten?
I liked Brett, Harry Dean Stanton's character.
Oh, yeah.
Who's just like, yep. Like, wearing Hawaiian shirts the whole time, just like trying to get home and messing with, like, just trying to do his job. I really enjoyed him. And Parker. I like the two of them. I like their dynamic. Because they're just like...
They were fun.
This sucks. Like, I just want to go home. Like, why are we doing this?
What about the bonus? We need to talk about the bonus situation.
You're not getting a bonus for the podcast, Ryan. I've told you.
I think my favorite person was, really was John Hurt. His character, I forget his name. But I just love John Hurt. But his character specifically, his death, hurt me the most, I think. Just because, literally, a second before, Alien popped out of his chest, he was like, man, when I get home, I'm like, oh, he's got plans for the future. And then Alien popped out of his chest. And then, with that scene when they popped out of the chest, he did that, specifically John Hurt did, the arm twitching thing. That really got me. No thanks.
So, that's one of the most famous... I think that is the most famous scene from this movie, right? The chest burster.
I think so.
Devon, did you know that scene was coming when it was coming?
I didn't know when it was coming. I knew eventually he was on a table. I knew that eventually an alien popped out of his chest. I didn't know it was while they were eating dinner, a scene after he was like, guys, I'm fine. I didn't think it was that soon. So that was a little bit shocking when it happened, yeah.
Yeah. Quarantine Logic 101. Somebody has an alien on their face and then it just disappears. Don't let that person out of a locked room. Because chances are something's growing inside of them that's going to burst out.
Yeah,
we know that
the movie
now.
is more believable now to me.
Yeah, I mean... Wait, what?
I want to touch on that. Why is it more believable now than you think it would have been when?
I'm going to say we'll call it 2020. I'm just picking a day. So
March 13th,
pre-2020.
2020?
Yeah, March 13th, just random date. Pre that date, I think I would have been like, these guys are idiots. Sigourney Weaver told them not to come in. They came in anyway. They're not listening to lockdown protocols. They deserve what they got. Now I'm like, oh yeah, people just do this.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you meant that a different way. So,
oh yeah,
don't mind
that's what
me.
I mean.
I thought you were talking about the whole thing of the whole quarantine aspect of it. I thought you were it's it makes so much more sense now. And I'm like, if you had an alien on your face, you shouldn't be around other people.
Right, please don't do that.
Yeah.
You know how you can prevent aliens from getting on your face? Wear a mask.
There you go. So, I have to say, my favorite other character it has to be the android. And I know...
Oh, yeah.
Now, the whole chest burster thing, people know about that. The whole thing about the alien on the ship. This movie... it's so ingrained in popular culture that I think spoiler-ish stuff is kind of out the window. So if you're hearing stuff now and you're kind of mad, it's whatever, I'm sorry. But the one part that I was kind of hesitant to talk about still, because I feel like it's such an awesome reveal, is when you find out that the guy is a synthetic. And then you watch it again, and it's just, he has little quirks, the way he moves. Like, if you watch this movie again, Devon, look at him specifically, and look at his movements. Look at the fact that he's not really eating when everybody else is eating. I mean, he drinks, but he doesn't really, like, eat. But he's got to be my favorite character besides Weaver in this. Simply because, like, without him, you don't get the movie. Without him being basically, like, overriding everybody and being like, well, I'm the hand of the company, I do what I want. Without him having that attitude, none of this happens.
Well, and that was one of the plot points that I think genuinely shocked me. Because, like, I knew that, like, they were going to spend it, like, running away from aliens. I didn't know there was a milk-powered robot on the ship either. And, like, that genuinely shocked me.
Yeah, and that's a recurring theme throughout all the rest of the movies, too, which is awesome. So,
in the chat, Waylon Utanani says xenomorphs are just foreign conspiracies by their competitors. I hear Ripley is a paid crisis actor.
I love that.
Well, speaking of theories on Alien, Ryan, do you buy into this and Blade Runner being in a shared universe?
yes, 100%.
I think
What's the connection?
I think it's the Wayland company.
The synthetic?
Yeah, and
So,
the synthetics.
Yeah, it's the synthetic connection, and I read an article once and it's been years, so correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody in the chat knows, but there's a quick show of, and I think it's actually Aliens, where they go through and they're showing the crew that got that's deceased during a board meeting, and they flash the captain, and they show his credentials, and if you pause the screen and read it, the one of the companies that he worked for before working for the Wayland Company was the company that made synthetics in Blade Runner.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think I think Devon and I are doing a special episode on Blade Runner in the near future, so
Yeah,
we'll have to deep dive into that when we get to that.
Yeah.
Well,
that and the
brings up
architecture
something
is kind of the same.
I mean, that makes sense, though. But it brings up something that I loved about this movie. I love I don't know why this, like, is such my, like, favorite thing lately. I love the idea of, like, corporate-sponsored space travel, where it's, like, it's not intrepid young men exploring the great beyond. It's literally, like, the company pays us to do this. We're doing what the company says. We're not going to deviate from what the company says because they're doing this.
Here, let me get you Elon Musk's number.
Oh my god, he is Wayland.
Cool. He is.
He's Wayland 100%. And once you see the other movies, oh my god, it's even worse.
Yeah. Did I say Tusk? Elon Musk. Like, ugh.
No, I thought you were making a very specific Rick and Morty joke where he shows up in it as Elon Tusk.
That's what
and
it was.
Like,
I didn't try to, but it was accidental Rick
I was
and
like,
Morty.
good pull.
Yeah.
If anybody on this planet has a human if anybody on this planet has a zoo in their basement with humans morphed into walruses, it's him.
Agreed.
I need to get Kevin Smith in here somewhere, so that's how I did it.
Kevin Smith keeps his in the window at his comic book store. So.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they have the Tusk costume on display at the stash.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I want to get into favorite scenes real quick. I'll give you mine, give you some time to think.
Okay.
When Ripley goes into, like, the maintenance area and she's trying to talk to Parker and Bert about, like, getting stuff fixed because they basically crashed on the planet, and the steam pipes are going and they're shouting at each other, and Parker's just, like, trolling her, and she eventually walks away, and then he just turns the steam off. Like, that to me, and it's little things like that made this movie believable, because you have these people working on this ship. There's only like 7 of them or 8 of them, and they're in so close proximity that you're going to get those moments. Like, you're going to get the unprofessional, conversations that just get, that people just let go because you're at each other's throats 24/7 for like 5 years. And I just love those moments in this movie.
All right, I think I got my favorite scene.
Okay.
It's after the xenomorph is loose in the ship, and they split up into 2 groups, and then they almost catch the cat. And then they split up again because that's a great idea. And then Brett's in this engine room with all these chains by himself, and there's just this very long shot of Harry Dean Stanton with like this big dark spot beside him, and you keep thinking that the alien's going to pop out of the shadows there, and it doesn't. It's just this tension with all these places this thing could come out of, and then when it finally does, it still gets you. Like, it just does such a great job of building up tension, because there's so many possibilities for it to come out of, and there's so many noises with the chains and the cat and then the alien. It's just so tense.
So my scene then is literally, I think, 3 seconds after your scene. So I liked the tension in that part, but this had what I think is the most realistic scene in any horror movie, where alien pops out, kills that character, and Kat just impassively watches, just could not give less of a shit about this character dying in front of him. I love it because I think it's hilarious. But I also love it because at that point I was like, oh, they're doing a metaphor. I caught it. So that was my favorite part.
That's how you took the cat?
Yeah, I took the cat as a metaphor for the cat, literally the cat and mouse dynamic set up by the alien. And then the fact that while Ridley's running away, she's literally carrying the cat. And at the end of the movie, she puts the cat to bed or to rest. Like, however you want to torture that metaphor.
So I'm more referring to you saying like how the cat was watching like it didn't care. It was like passive. I didn't take it that way. I took it that
really?
cat was just scared out of its mind and was frozen.
Oh,
because that's how it's like majority of people think who for the majority of people, they see cats as, the whole scaredy cat stereotype, and they run away and they hide under the bed. But if you got a cat that's truly petrified, it's gonna turn to stone. And it's just going to stare. That's how that.
I very much took the cat as like, one less human to worry about. Good.
See, you took it as the asshole cat stereotype.
As the how to teach your cat about guns cat, basically.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. So, Alan,
go ahead. Yes.
The score, what did you think?
Not super iconic. It is Jerry Goldsmith, I want to say. Let me double check that. What? That's not the app I clicked. I click on IMDb and it just opens MyFitnessPal. I'm like, no. Yeah, it's
stop watching movies, get outside.
It's Jerry Goldsmith, so it's not his most iconic space score. Which I would say is Star Trek, but it's good. I think the lack of music in the tense parts is more important in this one than the music itself.
Yeah.
I want to piggyback on that and ask about sound design. So I watched it on my laptop this morning, and man, I had the hardest time because a lot of it was really tense and I really got some of it was very loud. Characters talking was really hard for me to hear sometimes. And sometimes I rewind, turn the volume up for a bit. Was that intentional, or was that just my bad experience watching the movie?
I want to say it's more your experience watching the movie.
Because generally I thought the sound mixing and the sound design in this was phenomenal, at least from the parts that I think my laptop didn't completely mess up.
I watched this I got to work early this morning, so I put it on my big screen with my AirPods in.
Oh, it's cool.
And I really enjoy the sound design. I think it's designed to be in a quiet environment.
Sure.
A quiet, dark environment is the best way to watch this. You don't want. I wouldn't want like a laptop fan interfering with the sound or anything with this. Did you have headphones in, or were you just doing it through the speakers on the laptop?
I was just doing it through the speakers, and in all fairness, literally right there is a construction site. So, I'd get like super tense alien moment mixed with "Oi!" just like being shouted from outside.
Well,
It's
then
great.
that's like saying like trying to watch Gravity at a Aerosmith concert. You're not gonna get a good sound experience.
Why was Aerosmith what you pulled there?
Space Armageddon. I don't know.
There you well, there you go. I like that.
So to kind of add to Devon, I get those issues all the time. Like I'll be watching on I'll be watching on Hulu or Amazon, and there are certain apps that are a big problem with this, where I'll be watching a movie, like an action film or something, and it's got really, really loud moments, and then they'll go to talking, and I've got to like turn the volume from like 20 degrees one direction to 20 degrees the other, because if you listen to it loud enough that you could hear them talking, when the explosions and guns or whatever starts going off, I'm afraid that I'm going to blow out my speakers. And I absolutely hate that. Like, that's one of those things that I absolutely hate about whatever streaming, if it's a setting for whenever, how they calculate that stuff, or if it's done purposefully. Like, I really hate that. It makes me mad.
And here's why I even brought it up, because I typically, if stuff like that happens, I'm like, okay, it's my laptop, okay, it's my TV, it's my system, whatever. I heard stories about the script of this movie that the script was just intentionally sparse, and that like Ripley was never like physically described ever. So it could have been any actor playing Ripley, and that like intentionally the script was written in a very like bare bones way. And I didn't know if they were trying to reflect that in the they were trying to reflect that in the dialogue.
Okay.
I mean, it could be. Ryan, I'm almost like, what do you stream through? Your Xbox?
Xbox, my phone. It happens regardless of what thing I'm using.
All right. I was just curious if maybe it was like a setting on your Xbox that, because a lot of streaming platforms do have that issue. I know CBS All Access, back before it was Paramount Plus, I was having issues with, to the point where I got a new TV and it kind of fixed it.
Oh wow!
So
yeah. So I've got a shout out to an actor that doesn't really get a lot of representation when it comes to this movie, but the guy that was actually in the Xenomorph suit.
Okay.
I'm going to butcher his name. I feel horrible about it, but it is what it is. Bolija Badjo?
Okay.
Bolagi Badejo.
yeah.
Oh yeah, there he is.
Okay. So I always watch documentaries on these movies whenever they come out. Unfortunately, he passed away in 1992 at the age of 39. But I love how he portrayed the movements of this monster, because it was perfect. The lankiness, the slow movement, the quick movement when it was needed, the crawling. It made it 10 times better compared to it being like just a puppet on like like on metal tubes that would like shoot out of like a corner or something. Like, I really liked what he did physically for the role, especially in the end when Ripley's trying to like, shoot the thing out of the airlock and she sees it sleeping and it like crawls out of where it was, of where it was. And they model all of the xenomorphs and all of the rest of the movies are modeled after his movements. So even though he isn't around anymore, when they CGI these monsters, they're using him as a template.
Oh, that's cool.
So, I think the best example of the aliens movement that I can think of has nothing to do with the Alien franchise, but there's a Halloween episode of Community where Abed dresses as the xenomorph, and he does like the movements perfectly. Like when I think of the alien moving, I can appreciate that because I'm pretty sure they just pulled it straight from the movie as well.
See,
Oh yeah, I
that's
wouldn't be
cool.
surprised.
Yeah, because that's such an Abed thing to do too.
What, to like literally study the movement of the
Oh,
thing
yeah.
he's going to dress as?
Yeah,
That's fun.
you've seen Community, right?
Not all of it.
Oh,
I think
man.
I've seen season 1.
Oh,
Not
No.
intentionally. Like, it wasn't like something that I don't
tune in
enjoy.
next week
Like,
where I have
should finish
Devon
it.
watch all of Community.
I have the time.
So, and then
No, you
there's
don't.
It's true.
there's another, and I cannot bring it up right now on my phone, so I apologize because I don't know the guy's name.
okay.
The design of this movie, when it comes to the alien craft and the weird hallways and the eggs and even the xenomorph itself, is done by an artist. And I think he lives in Britain somewhere. He has a coffee table book of all of his art that released for a very short period of time. Kristen and I really, really want that book, but it's like $900 because they don't print it anymore, and the thing is so sought after.
Are you looking for the name
His-
Ian Whitaker?
That's probably it.
Okay.
He's the one that the xenomorph design is based off of, because he's the one that came up with it before even the movie was even a thing. So he
H.R.
was
Geiger.
making, like,
That's who you're looking into. I found it. It's H.R. Geiger.
okay. So this guy designed pretty much the premise of these monsters before before the idea of the movie was even around. And if you look at his artwork, it is amazing. It is
Okay.
disturbing, it is depressing, and it is some of the best stuff I've ever seen. Now, the reason why they picked him was because he does a lot of like sensual stuff in his art. I'm using the word sensual extremely broadly in this sense, but it kind of goes into part of the fear of the monster in the movie, because we can all say, I mean, what the face hugger does to its victims is horrifying. And that was done purposefully. That was written into the movie purposefully to scare specifically men. And you can find this in interviews from the writers and the directors. Like, this was supposed to like put fear in men that they normally don't like even want to talk about. But it's a fear that everybody shares, and it's basically just being violated like horribly. And that's where some of the fear comes from these monsters, and the stuff that this artist depicts kind of goes into that a little bit. And like I said before, Kristen and I really wanted his like coffee table book of like all of his artwork in it. But if you look it up, it's the things like I'd honestly rather buy a car.
So
Because
How
it's that
expensive
much.
it is.
I'm kind of curious now.
Yeah.
Devin, is there a coffee table book that you're after? Because there's one for me too. It's the Drew Struzan movie poster book that I've been trying to find for years. Drew Struzan did like all of the Indiana Jones posters, the Star Wars posters, Goonies, Back to the Future. He has a book with all of
Wow.
his posters in it that I've been on the hunt for. Devin, do you have one?
I owned a coffee table book of Pittsburgh that friend of the show Brian got me, and I think we still have it. It's not currently on our coffee table, but yeah, there's one that I think is just so funny. And I mean, maybe it's a little funny, less funny now, but at the time it was really great. It's called The Beautiful Poetry of Donald Trump. And it's just a picture of him just relaxing in a poet's vest. And I don't know what's inside it, but I just like want that cover. Like, I think it's hilarious.
Good to know.
Yeah, that's it. Literally, it's just an ironic one. It's not even a. And by the way, Ryan, for the H.R. Geiger thing, They used an H.R. Geiger picture. I don't know if you guys know the album. It's called Brain Salad Surgery by Emerson, Lake and Palmer. It's their most famous album. It's very much along the same vein as Alien, and I love his artwork, which is why I like jumped on it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that guy.
Yeah, because it's just, I love the fact that the idea for the monster was around before the idea of the movie was around. Like just that idea that like they were like, oh, instead of coming up with an idea for an alien, they were like, oh, this guy's stuff is really weird. This would be perfect, and it was just kind of like thrusted onto the guy. So, I did not mean to put it that way.
I see what you did there.
But production-wise, they kind of meant for it to be put on that way.
No, true. So,
in case anyone wasn't catching the drift you were hinting at earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Men. So.
Yeah. Devon, so you've seen Prometheus, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a big stinging point for a lot of like hardcore Alien fans and the prequels. What did you think of the, I guess they call them creators, or the architect in the giant chair that they come across with the hole in the chest? How did you process what they found compared to what you saw in Prometheus?
I mean, it was different, like by a lot. And when I saw it in Prometheus, I was like, all right, I guess that's where aliens come from. And then I think I had that moment today where I was like, I remember that differently. Why is that different? And like I had seen Prometheus, like, you know, I must have been like drunk 8 years ago or something when I watched Prometheus. So like I don't remember large swaths of it. I remember a circle thing falling on them and me going, run to the side. I remember that.
The CinemaSins Prometheus School of Running Away from Things.
Right. But I remember Michael Fassbender being amazing in it. But I like when they showed the creator or the maker or architect or whatever in this movie, I was like, doesn't that look different? Is there like a reason for that? Okay,
so here's the thing, and I am not one of these people that crap on the prequels because I like them. It's been 20, 30 years, 40, almost 40 years since they originally made this, so there's going to be some artistic differences and storyline differences, whatever. But anyway, so everybody thought, including me, that what they found was a skeleton and like a mummified remains. So everybody thought that the species that skeleton belonged to looked like elephants. Because that's pretty much what the helmet looks like. Their helmet looks like an elephant, a weird elephant creature. In Prometheus, they show that, no, that's a helmet, and they actually have a humanish-looking skull underneath.
It's like a spacesuit.
But exactly. So what they find is actually a spacesuit, but the problem is that when they go down and look at the chest, there's no defined space between where the space helmet stops and where the rib cage begins. It all looks like one giant skeleton. So everybody was like, what do you mean that's what the guy was like in the giant tub with the gun thingy on it? Because, we thought that was the skeleton, not like, a reveal 40 years later, it's not a skull, it's a space helmet. Like, it's like that whole thing.
Who would have thought a fan base for a sci-fi series would have problems with things that are established in prequels?
Oh, too soon. Too soon.
So, yeah.
Is it though?
So, when it comes to, it's not. So, now that you got that explanation, when it comes to that aspect of it, what do you think?
I mean, I think it's interesting. I'm never really one to be like judgy when people like do those like weird plot twists, later in life. I just think that's an interesting aspect of it, and I didn't know that it was a helmet, and I want to watch it again to see if I catch it.
Yeah. Okay.
I really want to go back and revisit Prometheus. again because I've only seen it the one time in theaters, and I wanted to watch it again before Alien Covenant came out. I have no desire to rewatch Alien Covenant. I was not a fan of that film.
Oh no.
Devon, do not let that discourage you from watching the movie.
No, I say if you enjoyed Fassbender in Prometheus, definitely watch Covenant. Like he's the best part of that movie, and the worst part. The movie's great. I didn't like where the story went.
Okay.
And it doesn't seem like we're gonna get any resolution to that. So
that's a shame.
yeah.
See, I like where it went.
I would like it more if we were going to get payoff to it, but I don't think we are because I did some research last night. It doesn't look good.
Oh.
No,
Because you talk about
really
a cat and mouse
doesn't.
game. This mouse came in and bought the Alien franchise and kind of messed some production things up.
Really?
Yeah, Alien's a Fox film, and they were bought out by Disney. Don't know if you knew about that, Devin.
You know what? I didn't know that it was a Fox property. I didn't connect that.
So the alien queen that they show later in the movies is a Disney princess.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Well, that reminds me, Devin.
Yeah.
You and I have gone to the Hollywood Casino near where we grew up. Do you remember the Alien Queen there?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was cool.
It's the best part of the casino because the Alien Queen does not take your money.
What did you think of the eggs?
Oh, I thought they were awesome. I love their design, and I mean, obviously, like the top was a little where they just like go boop and they like open up. I think that's a little bit like unrealistic in nature, but I'm like, that was my first thought. I was like, nature wouldn't just let them pop out of the egg like that. But then I'm like, Devin, you're watching an alien movie. Stop it.
And you also watched Prometheus, which no, hang on, that was Covenant. I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
Prometheus gets it all kinds of confusing because there's like so many different combinations of things that need to happen to get to a thing, and it's confusing. So.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. Final thoughts on Alien before we wrap this up.
I wanted to know what Devin wanted to poke a stick at.
So
Let's do it.
A couple of things. First one was Milk Robot. Second one, I don't know why, but I was like, white stuff? Why is it? I don't know. I thought it was hilarious. I think that I loved the how little they showed the entirety of the alien until he's floating outside in space next to like the rocket. And I was like, why is this the best full view of the alien I'm getting? Like, I didn't love that. And then up until maybe the halfway mark, I was completely convinced that the set design and that the like overall production design was done by Richard Bruce Glickman. If you guys don't know who that is the creator of the Fog Machine. Because everything was fog in this freaking movie. Even their like helmets had fog machines on the top of them.
All right, I want to go through every single point you just made, starting with that
Do it.
last one. So one of two things happened here, Ryan. Either Devin just knows the inventor of the fog machine off the top of his head, or he took the time to Google the inventor of the fog machine. I hope it's the second one. But
You'll never know.
No, knowing Devin, it's the first one because somebody at some point brought a fog machine to a party and he just thought it was the most annoying thing because he couldn't see his feet. So he's like, I need to know who to hate. And then he Googled it and looked it up and now he just knows who it is. Because I could definitely see Devin getting upset because he can't see his feet at a party because of a fog machine.
What was his name again?
That's the thing that would make me mad. Was it?
What was his name again? Ivan Nickelberg? What?
Richard Bruce Glickman.
Glickman. Okay.
Glickman.
Friend of the show.
Yeah.
Richard Bruce.
Friend of the show, Richard Bruce Glickman.
So basically he was like, oh, if I take dry ice and put a fan next to it.
That's not
Make
what a
things
fog machine
magic.
is, though.
Oh, they're
It
a
is
whole
in my
thing.
mind.
You can get a hot one, you can get a cold one. Trust
Yeah.
me, I have experience with fog machines.
Oh, I bet. You're the fog machine expert.
Couldn't see my feet for a whole year.
I really hope next week that you just have fog machines going in your apartment.
I need it now.
So I want to get on the whole thing with him being upset that his full view of the alien was when it was floating in space.
Okay, yeah, I want to talk about that too. For me, it's like, Ryan, you can talk to this a little bit more, but I feel like it was the Jaws effect where technically it was easier to show little of the alien until the end. Like, seeing less is more. Like, it makes it more suspenseful. Was that a production thing, or?
That was a production thing, one. Well, I think they wanted to show it earlier on, but, I mean, the suit's good. The actor was great that was in the suit. But lighting on the suit, I think, wasn't the best of what they thought it was going to be. So they decided to go more on, like, the hidden monster. They also changed its head at some point, because the way that the aliens work is that you get the face hugger, it impregnates you. It uses your DNA to create a specified creature to take you out and to basically, harvest everybody else. So when the original suit they made, the head dome piece that kind of looks like a bottlenose dolphin like top, like that, like slopiness to it. There was actually a human skull in that thing that you could kind of like see through because it was like gelatin to like kind of like show that there was like human DNA in it, and you can see it used in some of the scenes, but they put a more solid surface on it at one point because it just wasn't working for most of the scenes.
Sure.
But it was definitely the whole Jaws thing. It was like, this is going to be creepy. This is going to be more creepy if we just don't show it until like the very end.
Or just show it in extreme close-ups.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this is one of those things where either you go all in on less is more with a monster, or you show what it is up front. And I personally like the fact that you don't really see it until Ripley has almost gotten rid of it, because you get that sense of relief. It's like, oh my god, she finally got that thing out of, the airlock, but then it's like, I'm not gone yet. It's like,
well, no, so I think I might have framed it here. I loved the fact that it was less is more for the movie. I think the fact that in the end, when it was floating outside the airlock next to the vent, I think it just looked like John Hurt in a suit. Like, you lost all of the actors, fluidity of movement. You lost any kind of nuance to the role, and it just looked more cheap because of it. I almost would have preferred it being more hidden, even if it was floating outside about to be dead.
But I think part of that has to do with it just floating in space aimlessly. Like, it doesn't have any control at that point. Like, it's just trying to survive at that point. Like, the whole the android's whole thing is like, this thing's a perfect creature and will do anything to survive, and it's trying and it can't. So that's the first time that the alien shows weakness. Look at me schooling you again. Like, yes, we got one in this time, guys.
We got it.
The alien's helpless. Like, it's the first time in this film that it has no control over anything, and that's why it looks so weak and so it loses all stature that it had before.
Yeah, I guess that was my problem with it. I guess it was just I was so scared by this thing, and it had the mouth that came out of the other mouth. Like, I knew about that, but what a design! Like, what a cool design choice.
Not to bring it back to this, because I know it's going to piss Ryan off, but in Fortnite, when you have the xenomorph skin eat anything, because you can do I have an emote where he just eats popcorn. He eats the popcorn and the little mouth pops out, and you feed the popcorn to that.
Okay. That's funny.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Cool.
I like that. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this out there because I don't want people thinking that I'm some video game snob. The reason why I'm rolling my eyes at you with the whole Fortnite thing is because you're at an age where your reference for Xenomorph should be the movies or other popular culture things. If somebody's under the age of 20 or 22 or something and their point of reference is Fortnite, that's fine. I'm like, okay, cool. Have you seen the movie?
Hey,
if not, here's
all
the movie.
I know is we're streaming this on Twitch, so the more I can bring up Fortnite, the more views we might get. So I'm just trying to help us out here.
That's fine. Yeah. I just don't want people thinking that I'm some Fortnite snob, because I'm not. It's is the fact that you as a 30-year-old are bringing it up as a reference to a movie that came out 30 years ago.
Oh, I love it.
All right, so this
Devon, what was that third thing?
the milk.
The milk.
The milk.
It was just the milk. It was silly. I'm not
milkman.
that serious about it. It's just, it was so
Okay.
silly that like it was just all white fluid. I get it.
It's the
To
same.
me, it's disgusting.
What
is
was
gross.
disgusting for me was when he started to talk and it just came out of his mouth like bloop.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
Ooh.
Like if that was actual milk, that had to smell nasty after a while.
Yeah. See, for me, the first time I saw that, and I saw the white, so this is going to be a little weird. So, with my medical stuff, like, white has always been kind of a bad thing
Oh.
because of, like, inflammation and other issues, medical issues you can have. When the color white gets involved, it's not good. I'm hearing
Sure.
myself.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not hearing myself now.
You're fine. Yeah.
Okay, so when the color white is involved when it comes to like a human body, that's not usually a good thing. So
Right.
when I saw that, I got put back into like a few memories that I have, and I'm just like, oh my god, that's disgusting. Oh, that's horrible. This, and it, to me, it got like the right effect. And funny thing is, a lot of American audiences felt the same way Devon did. It was like, oh, it's the milkman, it's the milk robot. He's got milk. He's got this and other thing. When they showed this film in Japan, people literally got sick.
Wow.
And this is a cultural difference. So over in Japan, the color white is the symbol of death, or culturally speaking, in their history, white is not a good color. Usually, it is just for death and dying and sickness and all of that. I'm not sure if it's still like accepted as a thing, but I know at one point it was. But so the whole white aspect of like the thing being full of like white fluid to keep it like self-running, was very dramatic. It's kind of like seeing the blue blood in Captain Marvel. Like that's the signifier to like if somebody's not human, it's the blue blood. So,
Got it.
and there's a lot of white in the second one at one point.
That's so. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense though, and I like that connection to like Japan, like because it just feels like an interesting kind of like twist on it, where it's like I don't know,
Yeah.
it could have been like motor oil, or they could have put like fake blood in him. What it reminded
could have
me
been-
of was, oh god,
No, go.
well what it reminded me of was Apocalypse Now, where when they finally find, I think it's Keats. He's got like the egg dripping down his head, and it's got like that, especially the point where the android like turns and you see like the white start to slowly trickle down his head.
Yeah.
And I thought they were doing an intentional homage until I looked it up, and they were both released in '79. So maybe they just had extra white dye on the set that day or something.
It's actually the same stuff they use in the toy baby bottles.
Is it?
No.
Look, I would buy it.
All right. Anything else on Alien before we wrap this up? It sounds like sounds like our Twitch stream's having some issues and it's just a black screen. So I want to try to get this wrapped up.
I love this movie. This was awesome.
All right. How quick are you going to be to
happy
watch
to hear it.
Aliens?
Oh, probably tomorrow morning.
Nice.
Good.
And then we'll talk about Alien 3 at some point.
Good. I can't wait.
It's weird that we're doing them out of order.
It'll
on the
be
show.
before the end of the summer.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
So the other thing that I wanted to talk about with Alien is we didn't plan this very well. We missed Alien Day by one day. Yesterday was Alien Day. Because I guess 426 is the planet they land on or something.
Oh.
Okay, I've been involved in so many Facebook alien groups, and and I follow people on Twitter when it comes to this like fandom, and I didn't see anything about this.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. It's okay.
That's weird.
We're here. It's Alien. It's Alien Week for all I care. But next Tuesday is an actual day that we're not going to miss. Next Tuesday is May the 4th. Star Wars Day. The problem is we've all seen all the Star Wars movies. But we're going to do something special. We're going to take a look at George Lucas's inspiration for the original Star Wars, a film that he pulled a lot from, and a film that none of us have seen, but it's been on our list for a while. We're going to take a look at the Akira Kurosawa film, The Hidden Fortress. And we're going to do some deep dives into the comparisons between that and Star Wars. So if you haven't seen The Hidden Fortress, you can check that out before next Tuesday, May the 4th. We might even do some Star Wars trivia leading into that. So,
Yes.
and I have an idea for Revenge of the 5th. I want to run by you guys after the show. So
Okay, good.
just throw that out there. But yeah, that does it for today's show. If you're watching us on Twitch, go ahead and make sure to hit that follow button. If you're watching us on Facebook, go ahead and hit that like button. You can also listen to our show on all major podcasting platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch all of our shows the day after we record them, but with better sound quality, because we all record our sound, and I put that version on YouTube because that's where it lives forever. So until May the 4th, for You Have to Watch This Podcast, I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devon.
And
I didn't freeze, guys.
you just froze. It's very ironic. You jinxed it.
Did I?
Yeah.
Did I?
You did. You did.
Yeah.
No, whatever.
Yeah. All right, guys. Until next time, we'll see ya. I don't got a closing line for Alien.
Yeah, how do you do that?
I don't know.
That's what I wanted.